In my latest book, Bead Flora, Fringe Beaded Branches in Bloom, you'll find many fruiting blossoms that use the twisted wire fringe technique. In today's video, I'll be showing you 2 ways of making the twisted wire fringes and several ways to troubleshoot. And here I have some size 15 yellow seed beads on a spool of 28 gauge pink copper core wire. And I do want to use the size 15 seed beads because it will give it a much more delicate look and more in scale with the actual flower. So we're going to start out with a 3-inch tail, and we're just going to eyeball that. And let's move 1 bead down to that 3-inch mark. Now I'm going to show you the first method of making the twisted wire fringe, and that is by crossing the wires underneath the bead as tightly as you can. So here, twist the wires here. I'm just going to take my pliers and twist it at the neck. You can use your fingers or you can use your pliers. Now you may notice that your bead can be still wiggling a little bit. So hold on to the neck of the fringe here. And then take your pliers and hold on to either side of the bead. You're not holding on to the bead, you're just grabbing onto the wires gently here. Just make sure that you're holding onto the neck here, and then hold on to the side gently and twist. 1 twist or 2 twist. And now the bead is not wiggling anymore. After that, we're going to twist the rest of the wires down 1/4 inch. So I'm going to take my rulers and measure that out. So from underneath the bead to right here. So I want to twist down to this spot right there. And the way that I twist my fringes is I like to place the wires in between my fingers, holding on to it tightly, and then taking my pliers and do a 1/4 twist. So take your pliers, 1/4 twist, stop. Move down a bit. 1/4 twist. Stop. Let's see. Yep. And I'm going to do 1 more twist. I'm going to move down with my hands a bit. And then 1/4 twist. Stop. And the way that we're measuring is we're starting from the neck down. So this is 1/4 inch. Now I'm going to show you how to make the next fringe. So take your working wire and just bend it up like this into a V shape. And then move your next bead down. And we're just eyeballing this here so that it's right next to the first one. And just make a dent at this area here. Place the bead right over the dent, and we're going to cross the wires as tightly as you can and twist. And then I'm just going to take my pliers and go and hold on to the wires on the bead. Gently now. Okay, don't crush your bead. Okay, now that we're at the bottom, I'm going to reposition this so that this is back on the right hand side for me. Alright, so now put this over your finger and then put your thumb over it and then pull onto the working wire firmly. You want to cover the whole thing, both fringes, and pull. And I'm just going to keep going until I have all 6 here. So here I have all 6 of the twisted wire fringes done, so let's cut another tail off of the spool. Twist the 2 wires together, like twice at the base. And then we're going to reposition one of the tail wires to the other side. So just move one of the wire fringes and just wrap it around. Now I'm going to show you the second method of making the twisted wire fringe. And again, let's leave a 3-inch tail, and I have 1 bead down here. And just like the first method, we're going to cross the 2 wires, but this time don't cross it all the way underneath the bead. So we're just going to leave just a little bit of space here. And this is kind of like making a continuous loop just with 1 bead. So just hold on to the cross right here and then twist. And then what you're going to do is you're going to twist up. You can use your hands or you can use pliers. I'm trying to use my hands for most of the way. Or not. I'm going to move back to pliers. All right. I'm just going to hold on to the wires like on either side of the bead. All right, so now that we've gone up, we're going to go down again. And we're just going to do 1 1/4 twists. And that looks about right. Yep. So now let's move another bead down. So here, hold on to the wires here, and like you would be making a continuous loop, just make a twist. Keep going up, twisting with your fingers, or move to pliers. I'm going to move to pliers. And continue twisting the wire down. Hold on to it right here. And keep doing your 1/4 turns with your pliers. And I'm going to show you one more time. Now in this segment, I'm going to give you some troubleshooting tips. Sometimes you'll make a twisted fringe that is longer than the other ones, and that happens more often to me than you might think. And when that happens, what I do is I hold on to the rest of the fringes, then I pull down gently so I don't break the wires here. And now it is more closer in length than the rest of the fringes. And what actually happens when you pull down is that the gap in between these two fringes, it becomes a little bit wider over here. And then the wire here goes slanted a little bit this way. So if you notice here, the bottoms here are completely straight. And then this right here is slanted down a little bit more. So if you continue to make more fringes, it'll continue to slant down from the next one, and which is fine. When you close everything up and when you assemble your flowers, it'll look fine. Now on the other hand, sometimes you'll get a twisted fringe that is slightly shorter than the rest, and this actually is not a big deal. You can use your stamens just like this, but if you want them all to be the same length, what you can do is you can pull this up a little bit. So hold on to the bottoms tightly and just pull just a little bit. And it'll become just a little bit taller. All right, let's try it. So now they look more to be about the same height. So you're making your fringes and the top snaps off. So instead of starting a new one, if it's too long, cut it off to this length here. This is about 1/8 inch. Just move it aside and start a new one. Can you see the little wire bit? Barely, right? So let's finish it off here. There are going to be times where your bead just breaks. And what you can do at this point is just to take your wire cutters and just snip the top off. And then continue making more stamens on your wire. And here I want to give you a real quick tip. Sometimes you're twisting your wires and you feel like it might break. So what you can do to kind of reinforce this is to take the working wire and just wrap it around the stamen here. And that will give it a lot more stability. Now you might think that you want to do that after you make every single stamen. And if you do that with every single one, it'll create a lot of bulk. For some thinner wires, you can. I think for the white, you can probably do that and not create too much bulk. But with the pink wire, it definitely will just kind of make it more bulkier when you assemble. You may be interested in my 2 French beading books, Bead Flora, The Revival of French Beaded Flowers. This book will walk a beginner step-by-step on making beaded flowers, and my second book, French Beaded Branches in Bloom, you will be exploring branching blooms using some very interesting technique gymnastics. You can find signed copies on my website or all major book retailers online.